player and presumptive favorite for MVP. They also have a general manager, and that's HOTJon Horst, and he joins us now. And we're the best general manager in the league. How about that? We'll throw that out there. It's great to have you on the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Jenna.
Go ahead, Jenna.
John, if someone told you back in October your team is going to have the best record in the NBA with a couple days left in the regular season, what would you have said?
I
agree.
Yeah,
I knew, obviously.
Yeah.
Real, are you surprised with where you guys are and how you've managed to take what you did last year and build so far upon it that you're in this position towards the end of the regular season?
Maybe surprised that we're the best team in the NBA, best record where we're at this point in the season. But the fact that we were going to improve, that we were going to take steps forward, doesn't surprise me at all. We had some great off-season additions, and starting with Coach Budenholzer, some of the roster things with Pat Connaughton and Brooke Lopez and Dante DiVincenzo. So, and Giannis has taken a tremendous step, and so not surprised that we've improved.
Can you take us through some of the processing? Because you guys thought you had some good pieces. You made some good decisions, but none better than when you had the opportunity, because that was a coveted job as far as Milwaukee. But when you got Coach Bud there, what did it unlock? Because there was something you potentially sensed in the interview that this is the guy.
Yeah, so Chris, I mean, we knew we had the best job. With Giannis as the player and in the roster that we had, we lost to Boston in a 7-game series. We knew we had the best job, and so we were really intentional and diligent in our process. And spending time with Bud, it was clear that he was going to be able to unlock the talent in our roster. From an offensive perspective, defensively, he was really focused on improving our rebounding. You know, we went from one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA last year to the best rebounding team in the NBA this year. So we really felt like we could take big steps offensively and defensively, and he just style of play would fit. Having a guy like Giannis that can create so much space and so much opportunity for everyone else on the team, Bud would be the right coach for that.
Well, and you also saw, listen, that Atlanta Hawks team that won 60 games had a lot of really nice players, but did not have a superstar. Paul Millsap, Al Horford are nice players. Korver was having an amazing year. I think they had 5 All-Stars. But to bring that template to a team with arguably the best player in the league, now all of a sudden you have a real championship formula, but that needed Giannis to take the next step. Giannis has improved every single year of his career. He has gotten bigger. First few years, he was actually still growing height-wise, and now he's gotten bigger bulk-wise. When you saw Giannis this offseason, after coming off what was an all-NBA caliber season, did you see this year coming from him?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's progressively gotten better every single year. Physically, like you said, from a skill set, Bud is the right coach for him. So we have the right system. We've put in the right talent around him, and he's really improved in every area. Giannis has career highs almost across the board. His stats across the board are top 20 in the league from offensive and defensive metrics, and in every category. And the guy's only playing 33 minutes a game. You know, I think he's the only player in the league in history to average 26 and 12 or 26 and 13
in less than
33 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable what he's doing right now. And so, yeah, I mean, we know how special he is and how lucky we are to have him.
We know where his numbers are. We also know where Harden's numbers are right now. Make the case for Giannis being this year's MVP.
Yeah, to me, it's really clear. So most valuable player to a team, we've got the best team. We've beaten Houston twice. We've got the best team in the East, the best team in the league right now, record-wise. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. But Giannis, offensively and defensively, is dominating this league. He's averaging 26 and 13, like we just said. He's also the only guy that's averaging over a block and a steal a game to add on to those stats. And so offensively, he has a significant impact on our team, and defensively, he dominates the league as well.
Can you take us in with Giannis potentially being the face of the NBA? We hear about how much weight gain he's added. We hear about him adding strength in the weight room. Take us through like a day in Giannis, because we know superstars, but he's very, very different in his day-to-day approach in trying to be the best player that he can be.
He's a pretty simple guy, and I'm blessed that I've been able to be around him for a long time now. He loves his family first, so he's family first. He comes to work early, he stays late, and he goes back and spends time with his family. And so he's all family and basketball, and it's not much more complicated than that.
There are some great, maybe apocryphal Giannis stories from his early time in the league. There's the story of when he first tasted smoothies that he then tweeted about, him taking food home to go that he couldn't believe was free, him sending the story I want to know if it's true is, and if it is, if you can elaborate on it, did he really send all his money home one day and then have to run to the stadium back and catch a ride with a team, with a fan? And if not, do you have a great Giannis story to share with us?
I don't know if I'll comment on that one specifically, but he'll probably get a little upset at me at this. But so Giannis, we basically had to teach him how to drive. I mean, he had spent some time driving a little bit when he was in Europe. obviously illegally. But when he came to the U.S., a couple of the guys that I worked with, we had to spend time with him teaching him to drive. So we're on the way to his place. He's driving my car. I'm riding. It's not a driver's ed vehicle. And he's like, just doesn't even brake to go into a left-hand turn. So we're going about 30 miles an hour, and he just makes this left turn. I'm freaking out, like grabbing him, trying to get the brake. So he's an unbelievable guy. Again, for us to have him in Milwaukee and for us to have him this entire time has been great. And the things that he's doing is really special. Knowing the person he is makes it even more special.
We'd be remiss if we didn't ask about his ankle, how it's doing, what your game plan is for the next couple of days and for the remainder of the season with him.
Yeah, Jenna, great question. He's fine. He's going to be fine. The ankle, he's just kind of re-injured it here a few times, kind of stepping on feet, bad luck. And so really we just need to get the strength up. And so he may play tonight. If not, he'll definitely play on this trip.
I would imagine he wants to probably play, right?
Oh yeah, no, he's extremely hard guy to rest or to hold out for any reason. And now he does have a real ankle issue, and so we've got to be very careful with that.
Giannis has been very, very consistent as far as he wants to be in Milwaukee. He doesn't want to play with anyone else, doesn't want to chase rings and everything, wants to bring a championship to Milwaukee. How do you go? Is it too early to start talking about Giannis and his future in Milwaukee with him being so open about this is my home?
You mean with him, is it too early?
Yes.
No, we talk every day. We have open dialogue, and he's a part of, like, he's a resource. He's a resource to building this team. Coach Budenholzer is a resource to building this team. So Giannis and I talk about the roster. We talk about the types of guys that he wants to play with, the types of fit that we want to have, and no, we talk every day.
And I would imagine part of the reason you guys do something like sign Eric Bledsoe to an extension is not only because he's having a great year and he's been awesome, but to show the investment, to show that, listen, we are not going to let one of your best teammates get away from us this offseason or in a future offseason, and we are trying to build something sustainable in Milwaukee. I would argue not that different than what they built in San Antonio. That's the model I think the Bucks are probably looking for. Smaller market, superstar that doesn't necessarily need all the attention in the world, but might be the best player in the world, like what they had with Duncan. But the things those Spurs teams did, obviously, was win championships, was make deep playoff runs seemingly every year. In the Eastern Conference, which team do you think is the toughest matchup? Having watched this team all year, what's the team that you think presents maybe the most trouble for you guys?
Yeah, that's a great question. First of all, we got to get out of the first round, something that we haven't done in 17 years here in Milwaukee. And so that first round series is going to be tough. I think Orlando and Miami and Charlotte and in Brooklyn, who we play tonight, those teams are battling and they're all playing well. If we're lucky enough to do that and we're able to get out, you know, you're into a second round that's really, really good. Boston maybe underachieved a little bit at points this year, had some injury issues, but a team that beat us in 7 games last year. Philadelphia, with all the talent they have and in the way that they're playing, I think it could be extremely tough. And then Toronto's the best team. They've had the best sustained success left in our conference to this point. And so I think no matter who we play, it's going to be a tough matchup, and I think we'll be ready for it, though.
Are you guys kind of worried about the MASH unit that has become your team in the last week or two? You guys are pretty beat up at not the best time to
She's
be
going back
beat
to injuries.
I'm sorry. I want you to be healthy and happy, hitting that stride for the playoffs. But you guys are pretty beat up.
Yeah, no, we are. So last night we had 7 guys out with injury.
Yeah.
That's over 50% of our roster, basically. And so for us, I think we're being cautious. We have real things that are going on, but I think everyone has real things that are going on at this point in the season.
Sure.
We're fortunate that we have a 3-game lead in the Eastern Conference right now, a 3-game lead overall to have the #1 seed.
It's a little bit of a cushion.
Yeah, so we have a little cushion, and so we can be cautious and careful with these things. If we were playing Game 7 of the NBA Finals today, we'd probably have 6 guys that were healthy yesterday. And so I think we're managing it. We're taking care of the guys. They have real issues, and we're trying to get through it and get us to the point where when we start the playoffs, we're as healthy as possible.
You opened the door for me there, so I'm going to walk through it. Speaking of the NBA Finals, if you guys get there, if you get through all those checkpoints that you mentioned, how does this team match up with Golden State?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've had, if you look at what we've done over the last couple of years, not just this year, we've played Golden State tough. They're the best team. They're the reigning champion. It'll be an unbelievable opportunity to play those guys and a challenge to play those guys if we could do that. But I think we match up well. I think we have the best player in the league in Giannis. I think he's the MVP. I think he's the defensive player of the year. And I think if you have the best player, you always have a chance. And so start with that. We have a great coach, and Giannis has a great supporting cast that fits in. We have an all-star in Chris Middleton. I think Eric Bledsoe could have been an all-star. And so I think we have as much talent and as well coached as anyone in the league, and I think we have the best player.
Tell us about the Fiserv Forum, your new arena. Tell us about it a little bit.
No, Fiserv is awesome. So we've had 33 sellouts this year. Our average attendance is actually over capacity. We've been selling standing room only tickets all season.
Nice.
It's got great sight lines. It's great concourse and food, which all the fans love. It's been a really
Who came
really
up with the court design? I like that. Yeah, the colors on the court and everything. It's really nice.
The marketing side, Dustin Godsey and Peter Fagan, who runs our team, the team president, they do a great job with that stuff. We actually have 3 courts, 3 different kind of variations. Or we've played on 3 different variations throughout the last year and a half, and so they do some fun stuff with the courts and jerseys, and it's been great.
And this was a big deal for you guys in that community. I remember when they did the ribbon cutting or the groundbreaking was a big deal. But to have the right timing, when you get arena funding passed, you don't know what the team's going to be like. You know, years down the road. But to have Fiserv Arena come into play at the same time Giannis and this season's happening, for you guys, from the non-basketball, just the business perspective, has to be ideal timing.
Yeah, it's been an unbelievable ride to see the way that Milwaukee's grown, the downtown area, the arena itself, the developments around it, and to have a team that's #1 in the league and have a player like Giannis, and again, a team that's coached by Bud, it's been really a lot of fun to be in the downtown area.
It's been exciting covering you guys this season. A fun team with a really bright playoff future, and we're really excited. So thanks so much for being here.
Thank you guys.
And good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Take a break.
Thanks, Chris.
Much more First Things First right after this.
I need a few tickets for tonight.
Oh, in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
That's easy.
I can drop. I can